What's going on, everybody? My name is Justice, and I'm with my guy.
What's poppin'? It's poppin'. It's your boy Tyaire. How y'all doing?
And you're listening to the Silky Boys podcast, the latest podcast out right now for your sports needs and what's going on with the culture right now. Tyaire, how you feeling this week, my boy?
I'm feeling good, bro. It's Friday. NBA Finals tonight. It's a good weekend ahead of us, bro.
That's a good weekend. NBA Finals, you mentioned it. Getting straight into it. Game 5 later tonight, 9 o'clock. It's a wrap for the Lakers.
Yeah,
LeBron.
Bro, you see I got the shirt on, bro. They're gonna get it done for Kobe tonight, bro. It's a done deal. The Heat put up a good fight in Game 3, and whatever game they won, Jimmy Butler 40-point game, triple-double, all-time great playoff performance. But it's just the Lakers' time. The story was written all playoffs, so we pretty much knew what this bubble experience was gonna be. It was gonna be the fight for the title for the Lakers, and tonight they got a chance to close it out and go home. So honestly, I think that's what they want to go in there and do it quick, because they know the Heat is not a team that they really want to play around with.
Exactly. And also they're playing the Mama jerseys too. They're, 4-0 in those jerseys?
Yeah, 4-0 in those jerseys so far. So, yeah, that just solidifies the dub for me already.
And LeBron is going with his 4th title. Pretty much the instant where he already is in this place, like in terms of just great basketball players of all time. But it's on the eve of 10 years. He set out to basically on this mission, his mission to bring a championship back to LA, and he's actually finally doing that and being the first player in NBA history. Pretty much declaring it right now because it's going to happen. But the first player in NBA history to win a Finals MVP with 3 different NBA franchises. That's impressive.
Yeah, that is a very impressive feat. That just shows you the type of talent he is, where he can take his talent and create a championship culture anywhere he goes. So it's just a testament to his career, and yeah.
Testament to his career, and also Lakers winning one 10 years ago.
10 years, yeah, that's crazy. The last time they won, 2010, Lakers beat the Celtics in Game 7. So it's been as a Lakers fan, that's kind of crazy, because I remember where I was at that time, at that game. So it's wow, 10 years later, the last person to win the championship for the Lakers was Kobe. So just for LeBron to do that, just crazy, and just for the relationship they had, that's just gonna be a wild story when it comes down to the end. The NBA storybook. That's gonna be a wild one right there.
And the one to cap off just this wild season for NBA basketball. But looking back on it, everything, what has been your favorite moment from either from this bubble experience or even just from regular season before everything got shut down?
This season was kind of lukewarm to me, but from some of my favorite moments from the bubble would definitely be Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell going at it, or Jamal Murray going at the Clippers, and all his performance, Dame's whole 8-game stretch where he was getting the Trailblazers. I love that. I even love the little Mavericks splat with the Clippers. I really think that if KP didn't get ejected, that the Clippers could have got sent home the first series. And just the big storyline is just the explosion of the Clippers. I just feel like they really didn't want to be there, and that's one big takeaway from the bubble experience. I would say, you can tell who really didn't want to be there from the beginning. You could tell the Bucks maybe didn't want to be there, or the Clippers and stuff. So you kind of saw that early on. But overall, it was a good experience. But like we said off mic, yeah, we're gonna need the real NBA back. This bubble is not it.
Yeah, the bubble's great, and like you said, with Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, and everybody just going crazy. TJ Warren all of a sudden looking like one of the best players in the league for an 8-game stretch. Period. NBA bubble basketball is cool and all, but we want regular season NBA basketball normalized. And hopefully we'll be able to get that next year. That's the plan. Adam Silver has come out and said the plan is to hopefully have a full 82-game season for next season. We'll see. But with that being said, if we do get a full NBA season, and we discussed this off mic too, in the West, 12 out of the 15 teams have legitimate playoff aspirations. And that's something I don't think we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Out of one conference, where legitimately 1 through 12 is competitive, and you can see a scenario where one of those teams can win at least 45 games.
Yeah, it's definitely a bright future that we have for next year. It's a lot of the sleeping dogs that were either hurt or just had an off year, and a lot of the rising young teams are going to come back, like the Suns or the Nuggets or even the Timberwolves with their pieces they could add. And like we said, we got the Warriors coming back healthy. We got the Clippers coming back again. We got the Lakers trying to come back and repeat. And then you got all the Rockets. We don't know what they're going to do. We still got the Thunder coming off of that great season. So, like, it's so many different teams you could throw in there. And it's really fun. And still, in the East, we got the biggest storyline I really want for this next season is the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like that is going to be a media circus all year round. Every topic, every headline is going to be really about them. Whatever Kyrie says in the media, whatever KD's tweeting, I feel like that's going to be a real big, interesting thing to see next year. And overall, I'm excited for next year, man. I can't wait. And I hope it's going to be here sooner than we think. January is like literally 2 months, 3 months away.
Yeah, we're going to have a short off season. Probably somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks, and then boom, right back at it. Like, we have NBA basketball again. Hopefully that's the plan.
Yeah.
And real quick with that Brooklyn Nets situation, I look at it from the Bucks situation too, particularly with Giannis, because he has come out and said that he wants to stay in Milwaukee, but there's a realization there were reasons why we were talking about him potentially leaving, because we don't know if he can win right now in Milwaukee. And now is that situation going to be magnified even more because now Brooklyn is back and relevant, where now for the past 2 years the Milwaukee has been the favorite. It was either Milwaukee, Toronto, or the 76ers. Now you bring in Brooklyn into that situation. I'm curious to see how that's going to unfold now.
I really think is Brooklyn's conference to lose. I don't have much faith in the Bucks anymore after the past 2 performances they had in the playoffs. And I like the Heat, but overall, it really comes down to Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA in my eyes. And if he's coming back off of that injury and he's 75 to 85% of what he was, that's still the best player probably in the league. And that alone is really going to carry the Nets far. So I really just think it's the story of if KD's healthy and the rest is going to be the rest.
We can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to see it. But moving on from NBA, let's get into NFL now. NFL. Every single time we bring up this topic, I feel like it's something more negative, especially now with COVID, because now the Titans, Jets, Patriots, Raiders, and Chiefs have all had at least positive signs of COVID. And now the Titans are looking at possibly forfeiting and not playing their next game against the Bills, which would be on a Tuesday. And now that game that the Bills have to play that same Thursday against the Chiefs is now being moved to next week. NFL, did you really have a plan? No, you didn't.
We spoke about this when it first. Clearly, we saw no plan there, no bubble, nothing instituted. We're gonna go play these games and we're gonna go back home. So clearly, where we are right now is not surprising, and it's only a matter of time before this whole thing capsizes and just goes over. Like Jacoby keeps saying on Jalen Jacoby, when the hole comes into the boat, it's just gonna keep growing. And I feel like the first hole on the boat was the Titans, and then Cam, and then everything else. Every week is going to be something. Like, when you think about teams, it's going to start affecting your best players. Like, the Patriots lost their 2 best players in back-to-back weeks due to this. Like, what is the NFL going to do when it's Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill? Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Or it's Lamar Jackson or somebody. Like, you're not really going to be able to create content that y'all thought y'all were going to have. Like, fans are not going to be tuned in like y'all thought you were. And y'all realistically cannot complete a 16-game season like this. We saw what happened with baseball. They even had to adjust for, like, all right, we're going to at least have to do the bubble for the playoffs. Like, the NFL is just like, nah, we're going to go about how we do business as usual, and they thought it was going to work. And I feel like they're going to still force it, but eventually it's going to shut down because, like, as we see, the country is in a limbo right now. Cases are rising everywhere. Whether you want to believe what it is or not, cases are rising, stuff is shutting down. So it's really like it's really a race to see when at this point.
Do you think we get a Thanksgiving game?
No, that's a month. No, you're telling me a month of no more cases. Like, we're already postponing games. It's going to get to a point where, like, we have no more games to move. Like, we have no more weeks to postpone. Like, either some teams are going to have to accept, okay, this team can only play 13 games in a season. This team is going to play 16. This team is going to play 12. If teams are going to accept that, then maybe. But realistically, who's going to accept that? There's going to be a team in there who only played 12 games that made the playoffs compared to a team that had to play 16. That's not really going to be fair to the players.
And also the money aspect part of it too. I'm only getting paid for what 12 games that I'm playing when I'm supposed to be over supposed to be playing 16 games.
Yeah.
Like that affects my money. That affects everybody's money at that point too. And it brings to the question like, are NFL executives, are owners of this team? Probably not. But is the conversation going to have a possible suspension or a pause? A pause for let's say like a 2 or 3 week pause. Do you think that happens?
I think they will be forced to pause. I feel like they will fight it at all costs, and then they will be forced to pause, and they're going to come together with some haphazard plan to bring them back after that break. But realistically, if it's not in a bubble type of situation, it's just not going to work in the middle of a pandemic. It just won't work. It's not possible. You're going to have to, players are going to catch it, and you're going to have to quarantine, and then you're not going to like that because the stars are not going to play. And we already seen that with the Patriots.
Already seen that. I mean, it's just a rough time in the NFL, and again, I agree with you. I don't think we're gonna get to a Thanksgiving game at all. Honestly, I don't think we're gonna finish out the season either. Probably gonna cancel probably by November.
Yeah, like around election time, all this stuff is gonna get crazy.
It's gonna be wild. People are not gonna be getting paid, but someone that I think is not gonna get paid anymore by an NFL team in recent news. First coach fired, Bill O'Brien, Houston Texans. This one was kind of writing on the wall for like the past 2 years, especially after the DeAndre Hopkins deal that kind of solidified it. After that,
pretty much after the AFC game, the divisional game where they were up 21-0 and he was kicking field goals on 4th down. That solidified it for me. But yeah, the trade. Yeah, but pretty much it was time come for this, bro.
It's time coming. It's just one of those stories again where we talk about in sports, your head coach and your GM. Those are 2 different roles. Those are 2 different responsibilities, and that can't be held to just one person.
Yeah, unless you're like Bill Belichick, it's not going to work.
Like those are rare situations because Bill Belichick, I'm not even sure is human.
Yeah, he's the only person that I know who can run the team and coach at the same time. Even Pop has RC Buford who's still calling the shots in the background. Bill Belichick is doing it all for the Patriots. So if you're not that guy, just don't do it. We saw it with Thibodeau. We saw it with so many Doc. It just doesn't really work out at the end with these coaches. Bill O'Brien's add them to the list. You got to have a balance. You have to have your focus at one specific spot. You can't pick the players and coach it, because then your ego gets involved when you're playing the players, because you're like, oh, I signed him, he has to produce, and then if he's not producing, you're only hurting the team at this point.
Right, and it's also I signed you to this contract. I'm expecting you to play there for this amount, and I need to see this on field.
Yeah, rather if it's a coach, he can pick and choose. He can pick this scrub on the bench and try to make him and build him up. But no, as a GM, you have to show no, he's worth what I signed him for, and it gets tricky.
It gets tricky. Next head coach for the Houston Texans. It's probably going to be Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. The probably hottest name for the next head coaching gig. And it's heartbreaking as a Jets fan to know that 2 years ago we had the option to hire this man as our head coach before Adam Gase. And
we turned him down.
We said no to him. He went ahead and said, okay, I'll take an offensive coordinator job in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Go get me a Super Bowl ring. Probably going to give me another one.
Exactly, I might go too.
And I'm going to get whatever I want as far as the check goes when signing for a head coaching gig.
And I'm going to go get my young quarterback and build my team around him. And
whether it be Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. So go Jets, man.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Alright, and we're back, y'all. We gotta talk about Netflix one more time.
Netflix, bro.
Then the releases y'all have been putting out.
This quarantine period, some of the releases that Netflix has put out is just like from the Tiger King to Cuties to Epstein Island. It's like, what's going on?
Bro, if you don't know what we're talking about Netflix's latest release, documentary called Social Dilemma. talking about the very truths behind what goes on our phone, what goes on behind our phone screens. And the tech companies have literally everything on us and literally are just selling our futures and our control of our futures with the palm of our hands.
Bro, like, we might even have to stop talking about this. Like, why did this stuff just start messing up when we started even bringing this up right now? Bro, like, we might just have to cut this out of the pod, bro. Like, I feel like they just started watching us because why did all my equipment just start tweaking out of nowhere, bro? Like, yo.
Yo, stay safe out there, bro. Stay safe out there. Watch that doc. I'll say that right now. Just watch it.
But nah, bro. I think that doc it's important for where we are right now.
It really is. That's why we're bringing it up. Like, and I'm encouraging you right now to literally go watch it. Just experience that firsthand. And it's important because, especially for us in our generation, millennials / Gen Z, because we were the first generation. We were the lab rats for like this whole digital world, and our lives have literally been just thrown into this. We were just born into this.
It's so weird, bro. Like, cause like it's like how did we get here, bro? Cause like I still remember where I didn't have a phone, bro. Like I would really just be outside with my friends all day in my neighborhood, just playing till sundown and come back in the house, and then that was that. And if I did, the only form of technology I really played was either my PlayStation 2 or 3, bro. That was the limits of where it went. And it's like now we literally saw it was like a seismic shift. It happened out of nowhere, bro. Like I created my Instagram account and I feel like that was it, bro. Like I wasn't on any social media, and then I created my first Instagram account, and it's like they reeled me in. And then that doc is just like, yo, like no matter what, they're gonna get you, bro. Even if you created an Instagram account, a Pinterest account, a YouTube, no matter what you were trying to, your Google.
Your Google, your little like email, the thing you do for business,
for work, school, like no matter what, they were going to get you. So it's like, it was like a made trap, and it's just like, how did we just blindly go past this? Like, how did we blindly ignore every sci-fi movie that we ever made? Like, how? Like, this was the whole premise of movies from the 80s to 2000s.
Like, this is literally, like, we were talking about this 20 years, 30 years before it actually happened. Like, we were literally, as a generation of people, like, yo, technology is going to take over the world. Let's be aware of this now. Let's try to come up with some solutions just in case if that does ever happen. But the thing is,
he's like, yo, let me put this face scan on my phone so I can unlock it. It's more accessible.
Let me give them my fingerprint.
It's easier to do to pay stuff like this, bro. And we just chose our comfort over thinking, and they called us, bro.
They called us. And it's like, you can't do much about it because you're already in too deep. We're all in too deep at this point. We literally cannot live our lives without our phones, without our iPads, without our computers, just in general.
We are crack addicts. We
are users.
We are users. Like the doc said, the only two forms of business that call their customers users are illegal drugs and software. So that should just tell you where we are and where we should go from here. Like, I feel like our generation, it is a must that we tell whoever is under us, like, yo, this is not the end all be all. This is not it. There was life before this, and there will be life after this. You just can't get too deep into this phone, because like it will really end you. Because like just some of